I've kind of estimated that there will be slightly fewer songs than there were on the Clancy tour. So kind of the first segment leading up to the B stage is listed out here. Then we have the B stage medleys, and this gap here isn't quite as prominent as I would like, but there's a gap here. So like, these songs on the medley at B stage into the next segment, and then this down here is supposed to be like the encore. For the Clancy tour, they had 4 songs in the encore. Maybe they won't have as many. We can kind of cut it down if we think that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's 2 different factors to consider here, right? There's not only what songs I think they will play live, but also what order I think they will be played in. But I think because they're still going to want to have a good number of Clancy songs on the set list, that will mean they can't have as many Breach songs. Praying for At the Risk of Feeling Numb. Yeah, see, okay, so there's also another difference. What I'm putting in this list is what I think realistically could happen as a set list based off of things we've done before. And I might rely on some of you who have been to more shows than I have. I've only been to 2 Twin One Pilots shows. I might rely on some of you to kind of help me with sort of what is typical to see in some of these shows, what trends you've noticed. But some of it's just completely unpredictable. But so there's a difference between what I think realistically will happen, which is what this final list is supposed to be, and what I would like to see. So I would love to see At the Risk of Feeling Dumb played live. That would be incredible. I don't think they're going to. Yes, as Eli just said, I think City Walls will be the opener. I agree. City Walls. I think we'll open. This is the first kind of question to consider. They typically have Holding On to You earlier in the set list, and it would make a lot of sense in some ways to have Holding On to You next because we get Entertain My Faith in City Walls. But because we get Entertain My Faith and City Walls, will they not play the entirety of Holding On to You? Will they go from City Walls into the Entertain My Faith segment and then go from that into Holding On to You and play from that point onwards of that song, but not the beginning? Do the backflip, play out the rest of that song, and that'll be that for Holding On to You. I think right now I'm going to stick with Holding On to You as the second. I'm not sure if we'll see the full song played. For some reason, I feel like a song off of Breach will be third. Maybe we'll go into Raw Fear. Does that seem... Raw Fear is a song which I think they'll probably play live. So it could be City Walls, Holding On to You, Raw Fear. I don't dislike the idea of combining Holding On to You and Car Radio, but I also think it's more likely that they're going to combine City Walls and Holding On to You. City Walls into Heavy Duty Soul. Okay, so that's another thing that I was thinking. That's kind of obvious, right? The obvious thing to do. But then there's also the Holding On to You transition, and they always play it early. So here's what I'm going to do. For now, I'm going to say Heavy Dirty Soul. This doesn't mean it's a medley of the two. This is one or the other. And then remind me at the end to revisit this and kind of definitively say which one of these it will be. And then we might move stuff around. Probably not Ride. Maybe Car Radio. Maybe Car Radio will go here. I'm going to have to reorder some of these things, I think. But Car Radio is probably one that they're going to play live. I think they typically do it a bit earlier in the set list. Not always, but often. What if they go from Car Radio into the Contract? You see what I'm saying? Like the synths that come in at the end of Car Radio don't stop and then transition into the synths at the beginning of the Contract. I'm going to put the Contract here for now, but I think realistically they'll probably have to get moved later. That'd be epic. Yeah, the main reason I'm doubting that idea is simply because he often goes somewhere else for Car Radio and the end of that, and so then he would have to get back to the stage for the Contract unless they did that one like Routines in the Night with him walking through the crowd. I'll put it there for now. Certainly is one that I think they're going to play live. Next Semester to Drum Show or Navigating to Drum Show. Yes, those would transition well. Why don't we do Next Semester and then Drum Show here? Kind of like before we get into the B stage medleys. Kind of wrapping up this first section. You think Navigating Drum Show is better? Navigating certainly is a more lure song, but Next Semester I feel like is bigger. But I don't know, actually. Navigating, I've heard getting some good radio play. So I don't think if Heavy Dirty Soul doesn't play right after City Walls, I don't think it'll be this early. Navigating before Next Semester, yeah. I think it would work really well sonically to have Navigating, Next Semester, Drum Show. I just don't think they're going to do that many heavy songs in a row. What if the Contract is the song that plays as they come back from the B stage into the final section? Because they often do Heavy Dirty Soul later, and that could be a kind of transitional song, the contract. I'll put that there for now, unless anyone has objections. So contract into Heavy Dirty Soul. Center mass on B stage. Because what they did for the B stage for the Clancy tour was they had Tyler and Josh both at B stages, and then they had him drumming for the first ones, and then they went into a medley. So center mass would probably have to be earlier on the B stage list, right? I'm going to put center mass second on the B stage for now, and have that be kind of the second song with Josh drumming, and then it'll go into a medley of a couple of songs. Tally Trees. Yeah, let's put Tally here for now. Maybe they'll do... This seems unlikely that this song will be right after Car Radio, but it would allow him to move... Like, they use that as a transitional song in the Clancy tour, so that could allow him to move from wherever he ends up after Car Radio back to the main stage. That could even... that could go into Tally. I'm going to put Stressed Out down here for now. Center mass is a good follow-up to Routines. Okay, I'll put that in. I feel like we're going to end up very light on Clancy, which may be the point. Could it possibly be Heavy Dirty Soul into the contract? Right, because I do like those songs being next to each other because they have someone drums, right? But then if we did Jumpsuit, Heavy Dirty Soul, the contract, maybe they'll do... They could do Ride after the contract, though, right? All venues are going to have a B stage. Well, I don't know. I'm just assuming they're going to. But, if there isn't a B stage, then, this part of the set list, whatever. Could that be after center mass? I'll move these down and put Doubt here. But I don't think that's probably right. But I want to have it on the set list. Do we think that'll be the demo version? Overcompensate will be the first encore song that was in the tour ad. I mean, just because it was in the tour ad doesn't mean it will. But, sure. I'll put that there tentatively. Lavish on B. They could use Lavish as a walking song, actually. Drum Show into Lavish. Guns for Hands before Nico and the Niners. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, let's put all the songs we think will be in the list on, and then we can reorder things if we need to. So, do you think they might do a piano version of Shy Away? I feel like they'll probably just play Shy Away. They could do Ride into Shy Away. I assume the shows are going to be roughly the length of the Clancy tour, but I don't know. That's kind of what I'm assuming with the length of the set list. What if we do Fall Away, Forest, Mulberry Street for now? I agree they might switch that up, but that could be one. I'm going to put Days Lie Dormant in... I'm not a big Overcompensate starting the encore believer. I don't think it'll be Midwest Indigo again. It'd be cool if they did Isle of Flightless Birds as well. Mulberry Street has kind of as its own thing, and then we do Fall Away, Taxi Cab, Forest. I don't think they're going to play this live, but would be cool if they did that there. Okay, so yes, so if Tally starts, then Stressed Out could be the finale before Trees, and then something else. Midwest Indigo into Robot Voices. I can kind of see that. Intentions, Truce. All right, you know what? I don't think we're gonna get Intentions live, but you've convinced me. What if it's Garbage into Mulberry Street? Gravestones. Bandito. I feel like they often do the Judge because they have the crowd stuff. So maybe they'll do the Judge here. Or no, maybe they'll do the Judge after Car Radio, right? Because that's how they transition from him being somewhere else to get back to the stage. They do the Judge stuff. So maybe get the Judge here. What if we do this? What if we say Heavy Dirty Soul / the contract? And do My Blood right after that. What if they do Overcompensate? Tally. Stressed Out Trees. Cut Raw Fear and replace Overcompensate. I could do that. It feels a little awkward though, because it's like it's a starting song, right? So to put it as the third song feels odd. And I do really like the jumpsuit Heavy Dirty Soul kind of thing. Although I guess it could be overcompensate. They love Midwest Indigo. Yeah, it could be overcompensate into Heavy Dirty Soul into the contract, and they don't perform jumpsuit. Right? At the end of the B stage, they have Bandito, and then it goes into overcompensate. And then into Heavy Dirty Soul, contract, blah, blah, blah. And so then we can bring back Tally back up here and have Midwest Indigo here. Yeah, there's too many songs. I think we are missing Backslide. I just don't know. I don't know. Jumpsuit before navigating instead of Days Lie Dormant. So I do Cut Tear My Heart. Jumpsuit. I think they're going to play Shy Away. I think they want to have something from Skeleton Icy, and that's the obvious choice. Next semester over navigating. Do you think they'll do next semester into Drum Show? I'm not opposed. All right. You know, I'm going to leave it at this unless anyone has some last minute changes. I think, you know, we don't know. We can tweak this indefinitely. So I'll leave it at this. We'll find out tomorrow. Next stream, we can go over it again, compare it to the official track list or set list, excuse me, and see how it compares. I'm sure some things are terribly off, both in song inclusion and also placement, but then other things might be exactly right. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we can bank on City Walls opening. I will be very surprised if it doesn't, and Trees closing.